All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to another webinar hosted by Platform. My name is Doug Curtin. I'm the Director of Content here at Platform. If you've been tuning into a lot of these different webinars along the way, we're happy to have you back. We know that a lot of folks are starting up with school and looking for different ideas and looking to share best practices, get a sense of what's going on out there in the physical education and wellness world. Today, we'll be talking about a comprehensive physical education spotlight. This is actually the culmination of a video project that we worked on here at Platform with Canton High School, where we went for a few days and shadowed Adam Hughes, who will do a lot of our presenting today and talking about what he does. But a lot of the imagery and videos and things that you'll see are actually pulled from that project we went into the school last spring, highlighted a lot of the different ways that Canton was taking action in the world of health and physical education and also utilizing Platform along the way. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Before we do, and we dive into the real nuts and bolts of today's presentation, we'll start by Adam, who's joining us today from Canton, just introducing himself so other teachers and folks out there know who's presenting today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Hughes. I am the pre-K to 12 wellness coordinator for Canton Public Schools in Canton, Massachusetts. And what an honor it is to be here, to be able to just really speak to our practice here and share with you some of the insights of what we're doing and how Platform is serving our students and our school population from grades 6 through 12. It's been quite an awesome adventure from the first time that we brought Platform into our building until now, and I'm excited to be able to share some of that with you all. I am newly appointed in my role as the wellness coordinator. The picture you see on your screen is actually, as Doug said, me from last year in the spring when I was still a health and physical education teacher here at Canton High School, and I have since moved and transitioned my role, and now I'm the head of the entire department from pre-K to 12. So again, thank you all for joining in, and I'm always happy to share practice with anybody beyond this. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. So like you said, Adam, you know, last year when we were doing this feature, we're in the classroom working with a lot of students, very hands-on. This year, a little bit of a new role, working with the teachers that are going to continue a lot of the same things that we're going to touch on and go over today, but gives a really nice snapshot of what a department can really take on in terms of physical education and wellness. So before we dive in, just a little bit more about Canton. Adam, if you want to jump in, today we're focusing in on 9 through 12, which has about 1,000 students. If you want to talk a little bit more about just the department in general, what your goals are, your mission statement is up here on the screen, just a little bit about what the real strategy is at a high level for, you know, Canton in terms of comprehensive PE.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much. As you see, the wellness mission statement that we carry here is to encourage, educate, and motivate our students to make positive daily decisions and to develop healthy lifestyle habits. And that's the biggest thing that I can say, and I hope that anybody would take out of this particular session is it's not prescriptive to be one thing. It's very much how students develop habits that benefit their own life. And that could look different from student to student. That could look different from school to school. It could even look different from year to year within the same building. So what your group of students needs now as waves of students come through, that could shift. Here at Canton, we try to keep a very flexible mindset around how do we best support and serve our students around us in a way that will benefit them beyond the walls of our classroom. It's not just them coming in and feeling like, yeah, I was in physical education class or health class and I learned about this concept or I learned how to do this exercise and that's kind of the end of it. It's helping them to see far beyond what's right in front of them, which is oftentimes very difficult because most of the time what kids see right in front of them is whatever's on their phone. And it's sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge, but thankfully Platform has given us that exact use of the device to say, this is how it impacts you beyond just this class or just this content that we're teaching you here. It's how do you utilize that? I sat here with two of my high school teachers yesterday and went through the entire programming for our exercise science class for our sophomores. And, we really mapped out and laid out, our expectations for the year. And those expectations this year have evolved even from when this was done last year. The class has now shifted. It was a personal wellness class, and now it's taken more of an advanced approach, and it's an exercise science class. So a name shift as well as some content and some focal shift, because it's what's going to help our students to continue to grow and not just become stagnant around what we're doing in that class or in that focus.
Awesome. And, one thing of note is, and we'll talk about this throughout it in mentioning different classes and different offerings, like you mentioned, Adam, right there, is Canton's lucky enough and fortunate enough to have that 4-year PE requirement. We know that not all schools have that at the high school level, and even some states and areas have different expectations, even at the middle school level. One of the things that I think we'll touch on today is no matter what your requirements are, or even if it's becomes an elective or anything else like that, there are a lot of different ways, as Adam, you just mentioned, we can start to structure things so that students have a chance to see beyond just class, what can I can continue to do in the world of, health, fitness, and wellness. So with that, one of the things that we did, and one of the things that came out of the project, if it's going to load for me, is a video spotlight where we were able to spotlight the different ways in which Canton was working in action and really kind of taking that step in towards of providing students different opportunities for wellness. This is just a smaller clip, so we'll play this and I'll actually mute it so we can just get a few snapshots of what's going on inside the classroom. But as this does play, Adam, what we're going to cover today and what we're going to look at is how it's not just in the weight room, or it's not just in the fitness center, or it's not just in the classroom, but really, again, taking that whole school approach and providing every student's different opportunities for health and wellness. And I think that really will start to spotlight as we showcase this video is that you're really going to see that every single student, whether it's doing yoga, dance, fitness, strength and conditioning, has opportunities within Canton to really try things out, take ownership in their learning, and really start to, take that next step. So as we just preview this, as we talked about, this was actually just a minute-long video that we took from a much longer feature of the folks at Canton and the students working and putting together a really nice fitness example. And as you can see, as it pops up, it looks and feels a lot of different ways, as Adam mentioned. It's not just one thing, but it's a whole host of different things that are happening in different areas. So jumping ahead, one of the things that we're going to look at next, Adam, is basically how it takes action in all of those different places. And before we jump into the specific examples, talk us through how you've really tried to map that out so it wasn't always just in the gymnasium or just in one place. How is it really spread throughout the entire school?
Yeah, so when Platform first came on here, it was a very small audience. We started off with a small sample size and said, let's try this out and see if it's a fit for us. Because with anything that you do, you can go out and grab a million great things that seem good on paper or have great reviews from people. But if it's not a fit for you, it essentially doesn't really matter because it won't translate into what's going to benefit your students. So our first main focus is to just create this positive environment in all of our settings that really challenges and inspires students to want to have fun and to really seek how they can best explore their own physical fitness and well-being in a way that works best for them and that fits their own personal lifestyle and needs and comfort level as well. I know that for me personally, I've always seen it as comfort level kind of gives us this connotation of downplaying it and staying just with what's easy. So we kind of even shifted that language to say, this is what our challenge zone is. This is what our challenge level is. So it's really activating kids' minds around what challenges you, not what's comfortable for you. They may be very much the same thing, but challenge implies that you're actually working towards a purpose. You're actually inspired to want to find what is really challenging you and where does that fit and exist for you. So as time has evolved, we've really grown in our approach to how we utilize Platform. We started off with one of our sophomore fitness classes and one of our sports teams, just kind of giving it a trial for a spring season. And that was really it. And then we said, okay, this is going to be a really good fit and it's going to really help us. And then over time, for about 3 years, it was, let's figure out the best approach that will work for us, that allows us to best serve our students in every dynamic. So moving forward, obviously we experienced COVID that puts us on a setback, and then we come back to hybrid learning. During hybrid learning, we wanted to ensure that our students who were at home on certain days had access to high quality, standards-based physical education that would allow them to move and still benefit from our wellness classes. And we leaned on platform exceedingly heavy during that and utilized our fitness or the Fitness Anywhere program within platform to really help facilitate ensuring that students have the opportunity to access high quality programming and high quality physical education during that time. And then when we came back to all in and fast forwarding to last year and now, it's even taken shape to where we want to give kids an experience, assuming that they're coming into class having no prior experience at all. Even though that's not always the case, we have students who are varsity level athletes or who have worked out, for over a year and are very confident and comfortable within a workout setting. And we have students who have probably never seen a workout facility or workout center or experienced anything like physical education that's fitness based outside of an actual like PE class, and maybe not for an entire semester, maybe just for like a couple classes. So now we're in the mindset of during our semester long class, what we hope to embody is we want to give students every ample opportunity to find the fit that challenges them. So maybe that's an intro to fitness part 1 that involves little to no equipment. Maybe it's introducing a little bit of resistance training. Maybe it's someone who has done resistance training and is fully prepared and ready for more advanced movements like back squat, bench press, deadlifts. And giving students that wide range and that wide variety of experiences. And then we actually give them a lot of voice, choice, and agency around what they choose and what challenges them. So as you saw in one of the previous pictures, for the first couple of classes, we walk our students through exactly how to navigate a workout. We do it section by section with them, watch the video as an entire class. And then from there, we start to allow them to have their own autonomy within the class and find their own space where they feel like they're the most confident working out. And most of the time they gravitate towards pockets of friends, or they'll gravitate towards a room where there's a lot of space so they can move and feel like they're not cramped. But in any event, we really want our students to feel like it's more than just working out. It's not just them coming to break a sweat. It's not them just coming to check a box during the school day. This is things that's going to benefit them beyond our class and in their life in some capacity. Just developing and shaping that mindset that, hey, it's okay to work out. It's an expectation to be physically fit within our building and to embrace this mindset of improve who you are every day. Improve who you are as a person, both physically and socially and emotionally. Like improve every aspect of who you are. And physical education and platform has really helped us to bring that fitness component into shaping and molding students, both from an athletic lens and a physical education lens too. So
awesome. So just to kind of jump in here, some of the things that I've had up on the screen are the different environments that it's happening in. So a lot of the ones we just talked about were in the fitness center, the weight room, in the auxiliary fitness room, and we'll jump back to those. But in the classroom too, past just actually physical activity, we're also looking to incorporate a lot of those health and wellness skills that are also key parts of overall comprehensive PE. So talk a little bit about what that looks like, especially you mentioned that sophomore class. Maybe we can continue with that one a little bit in terms of what's going on in the classroom on some of those days where it's not physical activity focused, but rather a little bit more of that health and nutrition education.
Absolutely. Branching into our classrooms has been a recent evolution of how do we make this fit. So our nutrition curriculum used to be housed within our freshman health class, and that was where it kind of lived, but it was really disjointed. It didn't really have a great deal of connection to the other content. It was like we were trying to cram too much in. So we made the shift to say it fits here. This is the perfect marriage between fitness education and nutrition education and how that blends. Other areas have also reached into our sophomore health class, which is all about the pursuit of personal happiness and well-being. And part of what we've utilized platform for in that class is yoga and mindfulness and meditation, and having students actually do research around different practices within yoga and meditation and how they can best achieve their own personal happiness through those practices. So currently as it exists, again, we're advancing our curriculum around our fitness-based class, which is now our exercise science class. And the way that that flows is we'll do a series of actual fitness-based days where students will work out, but then we'll transition into the classroom. And at first transition, we really want students to understand the context of why is this important? How does it benefit me? And what is it actually doing to my life, to my body, to me personally? So we start with the fitness literacy article series and navigate through that, and really give students a comprehensive understanding of this is what's taking place for you as a person when you work out. So just tying the dots together from an understanding standpoint of knowledge versus action, and how we put the knowledge and the action together so that it actually makes sense. Because when you know why you're doing something and what it's actually doing for you, that's where you find that level of interest, or you find that level of being inspired to want to seek more. So once we get through the fitness literacy articles, we then go into intro to nutrition. And we have our students go through our intro to nutrition program on platform, self-paced, watch their videos, read the articles, answer the questions, and submit their questions as they finish them. So pretty self-paced by the students in that regard, but we'll typically pair a 5-class series together where we'll do 3 workout days or 3 fitness-based days. That might be actual working out. It might be a yoga session. It may be just a mindfulness session, but we try to give a happy blend of all those within the workout day regimen. And then additionally, we'll follow that up with 2 classroom-based days, either fitness literacy or intro to nutrition articles, and then we'll cycle back through and do it again.
Awesome. So as we just sort of bounced around on those 4 slides, I jump back and forth. You can really get the sense that there are a lot of different opportunities to insert it into different, domains in classrooms and fitness centers and weight rooms, so that students can really get a chance to not only explore them like you talked about, but also just get a chance to see, all right, what fits for me? What works for me? What do I like? Rather than really kind of always being in one place, an entire semester of health, and then an entire semester of fitness, an entire semester of yoga. You're sprinkling in different things to allow students to really, feel like even on a certain week, I'm going to get a chance to do something that maybe I really like, and maybe I don't like this as much, but I'm still giving it a try, still giving it a chance. So next up, what we'll cover is, a lot of that. We talked about different curriculum resources. We talked about different videos. We talked about all sorts of different types of stuff. What you're using in the classroom is a whole array of different technology to allow students to get exposed to those lessons and to those materials. So what we'll do next, similar to looking at those different types of places, we'll look at the different types of technology that is being used at Canton. First, we'll talk a little bit just to give a quick sense. And Adam, you can talk over this video as you kind of already are. It'll jump off you in terms of what your viewpoint is and how you try to approach technology. I'll keep this video muted again, just so we can kind of talk as we go.
Right. So as you see here, we have students using a lot of different devices and modes of technology within our class. So easy plug and play here is cell phones, because for the most part, students always have them with them. So that's the easy one. But branching beyond that, our fitness center has a TV. Our yoga room that we have, our alternative room, which is right there on the screen now, we have a touch view TV, which is basically like a giant tablet, giant iPad that you can touch screen and walk through, that we utilize as well. There's the big screen in our fitness center there to walk through things. If students come to class and like, my phone's dead, or there's any type of issue where they can't access through their own personal device, we have tablets ready-made, ready to go for those students, so that way they can just have one ready to rock and roll if they need it. So we make sure that students have every opportunity to access the content in any way possible, whether if that's through a whole class led session on the touch view or on the big screen, or if that is through small group on a tablet and using rack view, or if that's just through their own personalized cell phone or computer device, whatever they have with them. We try to make sure that every possible avenue of technological use is available to our students whenever they possibly may need it, and really try to give them that experience of always feeling like they have access to what they need, so they're not ever worried about not having that or coming to class and not having it's basically like coming into class and needing a pencil and paper and not having it. We want to make sure that our students have those things when they come.
Awesome. And one of the things I think is always worth noting, especially with folks that are a little bit concerned about maybe phones and tablets that we have up on the screen here right now, is how you've paired some of the different ways together so that you can start teaching appropriate technology use in class. So I'll jump back over to the TVs and the touch view. Talk us through how you sometimes pair up the two and use TVs as a way to guide things and then start to work students towards their phones.
Right. So in any given class, if this were, it's day one of school and day one of our class, we're actually going to be physically active and work through our workout program. Come in, we'll actually put the workout up on a touch view or a big screen, and it'll be teacher led, just to establish that routine of this is how you navigate through this. This is what you should do. This is how you should do that. And it's really a lot of the teacher, which is not something that we try to aim for. We want it to be a student-led session, and we want student-centered learning as opposed to teacher-led learning. But we really try to establish that up front as like, this is exactly how we want you to navigate this. When we come back the second time, we pull the workout up on the screen, we navigate through it as a preview, and then we allow them to take their own device and go into their own space and navigate through it. And as they do that, well, then that's where they come up with their questions and their curiosities of how do I do this? I don't remember that. Some students are extremely proficient with it, whether they've experienced it through sports or whatever other arena they may have experienced platform throughout our district. But they always have that second class as like their exploratory time of how do I really do this? And the best way to learn how to do it is just by actually taking time and doing it yourself. And then once we get beyond those first 2 to 3 classes, depending upon how the class is doing and how things are going, they start to really develop that self-autonomy where the teacher walks in and says, okay, today class, we're going to be on Intro to Fitness Part 2, Section 1, Lesson 1, ready, set, go. And that can be a bit scary. That can be a bit frightening for a teacher to be like, yeah, go, and I trust you to do it. Those first 2 to 3 classes are really important for establishing culture and expectations within what you're doing for the class. But for you as an educator, for you as the person who's leading the class, the greatest thing that I ever explored how to do on my own was create my own account and use my activity tab through my phone. So that way in real time, I could walk around and see exactly where students were through that activity tab, click on the little heart on the left side of their name and be able to see exactly what exercise they were on. That just upped the level of accountability for students, because while it's not a micromanaging technique where you're always constantly like over students' shoulders, like, hey, I see you're on this, hey, I see you're on that, it's still a layer of accountability that students know exists and they know it's there. And they know that I'm constantly watching, and that allows the class to basically self-manage throughout an entire workout, where kids are very accountable to doing their workout. In some instances, students will come up and say, I accidentally hit the back button and it kicked me out of my workout. So if my time looks really strange, that's why. I found that just making them aware that I have access to that, and I'll actually take my phone and show them. Like, look, I can click on this and I can see exactly where each one of you are at right now on this workout. And to them, that's like, okay, I know that I'm accountable for this, and I know that my teacher is actually seeing this. And that's something that I think for me as a teacher in my own class gave me a lot of reassurance that this was super effective. And this was something that it wasn't just, here you go, and I trust you. And then kids just kind of like take advantage of it. Like, there was really no taking advantage of it, because they knew that at any time I could say, hey, it looks like you're falling a little bit behind. Can I help you? And it wasn't always like an aha, I got you moment. It was more of a level of support for them, that if I saw them struggling, or if I see like, oh, their form's bad, I can click on and see maybe what their exercise is and go over and give them some quick advice to help them as well. So again, just those layers of support that allow students to feel really supported and feel truly cared for in what they're doing throughout the class.
Awesome. And I think you hit on this, and that's why I jumped to this slide, is just thinking about as you talked about, transitioning from that teacher-led class to a student-led class, you then become someone who can really start to have some more meaningful interactions with individual students. And like you said, it's not to be aha, gotcha, but it's to be, hey, let me check in. I know you're on this movement, or I know you're on this exercise. Let me see how it's going. Or now you're not having to, micromanage like you talked about, and spend more time actually hands-on giving feedback or checking in with a student that may be struggling with form or technique or the movement or skill that they're working on for that day. You have that ability to really adjust and modify it along the way. One of the big things that I think you've already touched on a little bit that sometimes allows for that to happen, as you've alluded to on a few different points, is the instructional videos. So Platform has over 2,000 instructional videos that can get popped right into the workouts. All of the lessons come fully loaded and everything else like that. But what I have up here on the right here, Adam, is actually some of the videos that you created. Again, just taking Platform and taking your own approach to the next level and saying, you know what, lots of great videos. I like them, but I also want to make sure that I have some things that I really enjoy doing as a teacher, as a coach. I'm going to sprinkle them in and make my own videos and pop them right into Platform as well. So really that balance of the two. Anything else you think worth noting about the videos or how the text aligned up?
Yeah, I think being able to input your own videos, which is a bit of work. It took me 5 years of navigating through Platform before I felt really comfortable being able to do that. And it's super simple. It really is incredibly easy. And I actually took before and after school on a down week for all of our student athletes, and literally just went in the gym and was like, hey, like, I'm going to do this. And I think I ended up shooting something like 112 videos in a matter of like 3 days. You'd be shocked how much just a minute and 15 seconds or a 20-second exercise can actually wear you out when you start doing like 60 or 70 of them at a time. But I think what this really allowed was for me as both a teacher and a coach was to be a facilitator, not really an up in front traditional talk type of teacher coach role, but more of a facilitator where it's come in, let everybody know where I want, what I expect, and then get out of the way and let them do it. And then from there, it's just going around and making sure that everybody is in the right spot, doing the right things, correcting form where it may be needed. And for the most part, you can get a sense of where students are. Right? You can tell if a student's staring at their phone for an exceedingly high amount of time, and it's like, okay, they probably need a little bit of help there. They look a little confused. And in some cases, it's just a quick, simple, something they don't even realize they're doing, and it's just a quick fix. But being able to go in and implement my own videos and adding some wrinkles on top of all the great videos that Platform already had, it also gave our students and our student athletes here, whenever they would click on and see my face pop up on the video, they'd be like, hey, you're on that video. And it was like, yep, I am. They're like, that's pretty cool. And, they get this sense of home, and it's like more personalized to them, and they see the things that they're actually like if a kid watches this video on tubing shoulder circuit, they're going to see that exact squat rack in our weight room and see those exact resistance tubes in our weight room. And they're like, oh, I know how to do that. I can actually see that in this exact space. So it really gave them a sense of connection and helped them to tie everything together. And it really brought a good feel for us here. So if you have any interest in doing that, I would highly encourage, just start with like 1 or 2 things that are your go-tos that maybe aren't on there, and be like, yeah, I want to try this. And it's super simple to upload and make it happen.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that's a good point, is like you said, 100 so videos can take a decent amount of time and energy and everything else like that. I think the nice marriage of the two is, that Platform's got you covered with all those different types of videos, but like you said, sprinkling in your own kind of nuances and things that you like, or a demo video or an instructional video, or how you want kids to start a warm up or whatever it may be, can also be a helpful way to tap into it. So that's a lot of the teacher experience. We've already talked a little bit about the student experience, but we'll just sort of jump around here on a few quotes while you explain, Adam, just what you've seen from students over the last 5 or so years in terms of engagement or motivation or anything else that stood out to you in terms of how students have received something like adding in technology to physical education, adding in these types of resources, which some folks might say, I kind of want to keep them separate. What would you say is sort of what you've seen over the last 5 years or so?
I think probably the biggest thing I've seen is the relevance of students after the class ends and how much they're connecting it to their life, and how many times in any given year I'll have students come up to me and go, guess what I did? What'd you do? I went and got a gym membership for the first time, and the first time I went, I knew exactly what I was doing, and I can't believe it, but I felt so good doing that. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that might not have been the case. Kids were uneasy about going into those settings and really knowing what to do and really feeling confident with what they were doing. It was more, this is just a class, and from a student perspective, it was just working out. Like, that was really it. It was pre-fitness testing, an entire semester of workouts, post-fitness testing, and then a post-assessment. And that was basically the class, and they were in charge of writing their own workout programming. And while that's beneficial, if you don't have the experience or the knowledge to do that with, well, that could be really confusing and be really something that students feel uneasy about. So as time has evolved over 7 years, I've really seen this shift in mindset of our students and our student athletes to be like, I genuinely feel like what I'm doing matters. It's not just me doing it to check this box. This matters. And
Awesome.
that to me was the biggest transformation, is like they're applying it to their actual life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that really hits home to where we really started out this presentation. And we can see it on this quote and some of the other quotes that are up, but really thinking about how it's extending past the walls of the school and making people confident, making people feel comfortable, making people really feel like, all right, I'm going from a beginner where maybe when I walk into that weight room or that fitness center or the gymnasium, a little bit intimidated, or I wouldn't go sign up for my own class because I don't know what yoga is. So I would never sign up at the local gym or fitness studio or whatever it may be, to, all right, now I actually do have the confidence. Now I do have the abilities to be able to go do those things on my own and be able to go do them like we've been talking about a lot outside of the walls of the school. But to do that, it really takes that comprehensive approach. It takes making wellness, making fitness a school-wide initiative so that it can actually start to go outside of the walls as well, moving past just, I go to PE class, I do the class workout, and then I'm done. And I go to my next subject, math, science, whatever it may be. Anything else, Adam, that you want to touch on that we haven't hit on yet in terms of your experience, just, as your role has evolved into wellness coordinator and what you've seen now into this year, or anything else in terms of your experience with platform and using technology and curriculum and physical education?
I think that for where we are now, and the way you should look at this for anybody in any dynamic, is that everybody's situation is going to be different. Don't be hesitant to try something, give it a go, give it at least somewhat of a try in some capacity. It may be one thing that you try, and the first time you try it, it may not be anything like what you envisioned. But take what you experience and use it to grow forward. And that's the biggest thing as we approach now an advanced version of our curriculum with our exercise science class. This entire year is this is really good. We know that this is really good. How do we take what didn't work in whatever context and make it better? And I think that is probably the best advice that I could deliver, is don't be afraid to take the risk and try it. Even if you just try one program that's on there and it's like, yeah, this was great. Or maybe, I liked it, or no, not really for us. What else is there to offer? What other programs are there? Just be willing to take that risk, give it a shot, try to find what fits best for you. As I said at the beginning, I'm always happy to share practice with anybody and really help you establish what works best for you and kind of give you a better idea of what we do on our end. So if you have anything at all, I'm always happy to connect and help.
Awesome. And I think, like you said at the beginning, is that, 5 years ago, you started it with one class, one sports team. And now, if you log into Canton's account, there's hundreds of kids using it in different classes, different sports teams. As the videos were showing and the pictures were showing throughout today's presentation, it really is really expanded over the last few years with different content areas, different curriculum areas, different, focuses and things that we want students to be exposed to along the way. But I think, like you said, giving it a try, starting out on a smaller scale and then growing is what we've seen a lot of folks really succeed in, because then, you start to build up that interest, and maybe you're trying to convince your admin to really see PE as a school-wide initiative. Now they're going to start to see that as you slowly grow it. And as you can see, as students are moving with good form, technique, actively smiling and engaging in a program and seeing value in it, like we showcased in some of the videos, they're going to start to take notice as well and want this to be something more than it already is. So as Adam said, please feel free to reach out with questions, both to us and to Adam along the way. If you ever have any questions, it was really cool the other day. I was on a call. This is an anecdote, but was on a call with a few PE teachers in California. And one of them said to me, we're actually trying to model our curriculum off of what Canton's doing. They had seen a previous webinar with us. They had seen a previous presentation that Adam had been a part of, where we talked about some of the different curriculum models from 9th grade to 12th grade, got a little bit more into the weeds about what the units were, what the semesters looked like from freshmen all the way up to seniors. And that school is now trying to basically model that, knowing that they're going to hit all those buckets that they want to hit. And so that was really cool to hear. And I shared that with you, Adam, before this presentation, but just to give a sense that this is a really comprehensive approach to making sure that every single student has PE in the palm of their hands, which is fantastic to have. So with that, we can open it up to questions for those that are here live. Again, this is a recorded webinar. So if you watch this after the fact and you have questions, all of our contact information is up on the screen. You can reach out to us here as well. But if anybody here right now has any specific questions or wants to chime in, we can certainly touch on those. If not, we'll work towards wrapping up in the next few minutes. All right. Well, I don't see any just questions coming in. I think we did a good job of covering just about everything that we wanted to cover today, highlighting a lot of where PE is happening at Canton, especially at the high school level, but it's also happening at lower levels as well, as Adam touched on. How technology and curriculum is a part of the classroom. And I think one of the things that Adam touched on most importantly is how it's moving from a teacher-led model to a student-led model. And that's one of the big buzzwords we're hearing across education, is giving students ownership, autonomy. And that is something that you can certainly do even with busy physical education classes and crowded classrooms of diverse students, diverse experiences, and everything else like that. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Adam, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before we close, but I think you did a great job kind of putting all your pieces together along the way. So thanks so much to Adam and everybody at Canton, not only for letting us come and visit last year and spotlight all the great students. Obviously the students were on board with it and excited to be featured as well. And they did a fantastic job just pretending like the camera wasn't there and showcasing what they do on a typical day in class. And of course, thank you to all of you who joined us today or watched this after the fact. We know that school is in full swing for most people, whether you've been in school for a few weeks or starting out and right around now. We wish you the best of luck with the new school year and hope that we can be a resource along the way. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.